Hello, my name is Mark Herringer, and I've submitted some pieces for the African American Artists of Northern California. One of the pieces is behind me, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of the importance of or how I create my work. A lot of it has to do with my lived experience as a black man in the United States, probably very specifically. I've really taken a lot of the experiences I've had, everything from the joy of being black to the frustrations or some of the struggles that come along with that, and pour them into the work that I do in terms of visual art. I often create works that are based off of either images and or readings or text or my lived experience, and I just want to recreate that in a physical form of art, at least in this instance. And so I find a lot of things that from my experience, and then I try to recreate them either in images. And a big part of my work is the three-dimensional characteristic of it. The layering I do, I consider it mixed media and collage and all those different kind of forms of visual art. And so I just layer those things on top of each other, and the end result, I think, really does represent a lot of my lived experience, including the part of it being layered, and seeing the layers and the nuances and what gets covered and what doesn't, in terms of my art. So I hope that gives a little bit of background and information.
Hi everyone, my name is Kim Champion. I am a Bay Area artist and I'm happy to be participating in the Black Artists of Northern California exhibition. I've been asked what type of artist I am, and I guess I'll just say I am an artist that sometimes likes to paint and sometimes I like to draw. And sometimes I do both well, not at the same time, but I like to do both in the same maybe piece. So let me tell you about the two pieces that I have in the show. They're behind me here. I'm going to switch around in a second so I can have better focus and tell you about. These are my two paintings that I have in the show. The first one on the right is Pretty Persimmon, and the one on the left is Movement. They were both created using watercolor, pen, and ink on paper. The first one that I'll talk about is Pretty Persimmon. This one was inspired by some persimmons that my neighbor brought over and stayed on the counter for way too long, enough for the leaves to curl up and the colors to change. So organic shapes like this found in nature are things that I love to paint. I love color, I love lines and exaggerating those lines and creating unique versions of familiar things. So this is Pretty Persimmon. If I get too close, I think you can see my reflection, but yeah, just want to kind of zoom in on that. So the next piece I wanted to talk about was Movement, and I'll just kind of move over here, no pun intended. This piece was an experiment with watercolor, ink, and paper. I use different types of paper, so I use mixed media paper and watercolor paper to create different shapes. And I place those pieces down. And once I got them in the right position, I used that to inform the next direction for my color choices and for the placement of my lines. This was a really cool thing to create the different sections of this piece. Because when after creating those different sections, just backing up from it and being able to see what happened when I was so focused in. The thing about this piece is that I didn't have a plan for it. It was just something I was doing just based on feeling at the time. And of course, this was done at different moments in time. So I think it has different feelings all over it. So that's it. And let me back up so you can see these two pieces. And that's it for my pieces. And I look forward to seeing you at the show. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, this piece is called Equimini Revived, the tribute to 50 years of hip hop with Andre 3000. It's 18 by 24 spray paint, acrylic, and acrylic marker on canvas. It's inspired by the iconic Andre 3000 in a vibrant collaboration of color, style, and movement. This piece captures the energy and spirit of hip hop. The unique use of vibrant pink and light blues adds a modern and dynamic touch to this celebration of hip hop's 50th anniversary. I remember I took this painting with me wherever I went, to my son's football games, and I just felt the color of the sky coming on through there. And mind you, at this point, Andre hadn't come out with an album in 17 years. And the day I signed my name on this, the end of 2023, Andre came out with a new album, and it was actually not a rap album. It was instrumental, all flute. So it was definitely some kind of, I was channeling that kind of spirit through there, that artist through hip hop, and I'm glad I celebrated this. This next piece is called Ali's Anthem, a tribute to a champion's work ethic. Ali's Anthem transcends the boundaries of time and space, inviting viewers to witness the triumph of the human spirit in its purest form. You know, when I was painting this one here, I was actually inspired by my doctor, and as he was, and I was thinking about him when I was painting this, and I've been celebrating everything Muhammad Ali ever since I was in the sports as a youth, and you always see him in his glory in the ring, and this painting I wanted to show his work ethic. I wanted to show him in practice, so you don't see him fighting anybody else, but you see him challenging that champion spirit in the gym by hitting the heavy bag, hitting the speed bag. And in the back you have words in the back that mean peace, service, and love, which I think are three big components of our hero, Muhammad Ali. So I hope you enjoy this. Thank you.
My name is Aura Clay, and this is my quilt. The title of it is Sahar's Solo. It's based on a photograph of this young female who plays the saxophone. She joined a small jazz group, and they would play at outdoor concerts and also for private groups. But whenever we would go to see her perform, we would be sitting there waiting for her solo to come on. So that's the inspiration for this quilt, is when Sahar is playing her solo. She is head of a music department at a small private school. She teaches piano. She gives private piano lessons, and she has a 2-year-old. So she is my inspiration because she's doing it all, and she's teaching young people to learn to love and appreciate jazz. The quilt is made with cotton and metallic fabrics, cotton and metallic threads. It's raw edge applique, and it's free motion quilted on my home sewing machine.
Ode to Jim Crow and Talk to the Hand are two pieces that are part of a series I started called Finding Freedom. Finding freedom is a universal pilgrimage I feel we all experience in many aspects in our lives. And my goal with this series was to portray this same pilgrimage through the eyes of young African American kids. Due to my growing up in the South, experiencing the collateral damage of Jim Crow law, I wanted to depict how Black kids in America have to live their life in a different way while experiencing and finding out who they are in a world that's so big and so grand, and finding their purpose within that same world. So I hope when you experience my pieces, I hope you understand the story that I'm telling, and I hope it connects with you in some shape, form, or fashion. And just thank you for continuing to support the arts.
There, my name is Marlon Beaver of San Francisco, Northern California, and I'm grateful to be a part of the Black Artist of Northern California. Here are my art pieces that I'll be displaying at the event. Feel free to come out and get your piece. I look forward to seeing you there. I have other artwork as well. I'm also a t-shirt designer. Do some designs on t-shirt. Architectural designs. So I look forward to seeing you at the event. And thank you so much for your support of Black artists. Thank you. Bye-bye.
My name is Karen Sineferu, and I am the founder and co-creator of the Black Woman is God. The exhibit has been very powerful for the community. But while I was creating this event, I was always creating artwork for myself. In every exhibit, I created work. But I ended up with a gallery as well and was able to show my husband's work in that space. So I went from a curator to an artist to a gallerist to a community engager and back. This experience has been powerful for me and has given me opportunities to think about ways I can be both important to my community and important ultimately to myself.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Evans. My paintings in this exhibition are examples of my approach to painting in general. Color, texture, tone, shapes, motion, and lived experiences solidify the compositions. My painting seeks to convey, arouse, challenge, and soothe the viewer. Because they are general and personal at the same time, my work requires close observation. It is like all of the struggles of painting these works are all over the surface of the paintings, in little dabs and ducks and dibbles there. Every function or every mark has a function, whether that is to construct or deconstruct. Their functions are quite complementary to the rest of the painting. You didn't see that, and I didn't know she felt that way, are examples of some of the titles I give my pieces. And they relate to specific mindsets, I would call them. And I hope these titles give the painting some form and some context. I call these the interrelationship between the viewer and the artist. All right? In the end, I think it's important that I paint what I feel rather than what I see. Thank you.
My name is Malik Seneferu. We are currently at my studio in the Hunters Point shipyard. The experience of being born and raised in Bayview, Hunters Point, it really took the shipyard for me to be born. My parents met at a place called Diego Mary's, which is at Donahue and Ennis, where they played music, served food and drinks and stuff like that. I was actually named after my father, Herman Jerome Smith. My father came here because he was with the U.S. Navy and he was a naval cadet. I grew up in many different places throughout San Francisco. But being here in this shipyard through artists like Joe Sam, who made it possible for me to have a studio here. I was the youngest artist to have a studio, the first artist to have an artist in residency here at Bayview Hunters Point. And later I helped others like Afatazi, the artist, Monique Afatazi. I grew up early as an activist and have always had the activist spirit. Grew up through the 80s, experiencing a lot, and through that traumatic experience, I turned it into a level of resilience through my painting, and was the only person thinking the way I was thinking at a young age. The life that I have now is, I couldn't have imagined it, although I imagined big. They say dream big, I dream big, but this is probably a moment I can only just sit in and feel happy and cuddle in that as much as I can, if you can imagine that. San Francisco is a hill-bound city, but when it comes to Hunters Point, we called it the Hill. 2009, I was asked to do an exhibition at the Bayview Opera House where they would have like 100 pieces on display. I came up with From the Hill and Beyond. To hear that word from the hill is so, it is so innate to living in Hunters Point. You know, if you are really from Hunters Point and you are around your parents that are from Hunters Point, you heard them say the hill. It was Joe Sam who said, hey, you know, I want you to, come to Haiti with me. Some folks in Haiti want to see your work. And I was like, what? In Haiti? They know about my work? Like, yeah. And I'm off to see Haiti. And it was amazing. Fast forward a couple of years later, 1997, I say, hey, I'm going to Africa. It was just really amazing. You know, I just started growing my locks and frozily on my head. I was young, 20s and thin and everything. And it was just amazing, to be in another place. I was still living in Hunters Point, but had the opportunity to get on a plane and go to a totally different country and just be there, and they love my work. The last piece, From the Hill and Beyond, the reason why I began doing that particular work where you see my figures walking through the forest and the trees and you see the background and the hills. And the idea was to be able to, rather than painting actual Black faces, I wanted to paint our culture. In 2009, I'm close to over 1,000 pieces in that series of work. Things like From the Hill and Beyond, Uhuru, which means liberation, aesthetic ascension, which is, my viewpoint on how we should see ourselves. The ascension and beautiful ascension is the beautiful struggle, and the struggle is the pathway. And the pathway being our purpose on earth. So in us coming to this point of knowing that the path is struggle, the path is challenge. It is not a path if it is not struggle. Nature itself teaches you. It teaches you really what life is supposed to be. There's going to be winter, spring, summer, and fall, right? But the idea is to accept it and embrace it as a beautiful struggle. You know, so when I see the rain and I see the blue in the air, it amazes me and it inspires me to go to the studio and create. When I see the sun out and I see the brightness and I hear the birds, it inspires me to go into my studio and create. When I see a storm and I see the amazingness, just the voice almost of, I would say the voice of God, like you feel that vibration, it inspires me to go in and create something in response to something greater than myself. So with that being said, you know, I'm always, that's why my mantra is remain creative. I believe as human beings, it is our task, thus responsibility, and much of our purpose to be creative.
Hello, my name is Keviette Miner, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist and graphic designer, born, raised, and currently working in Santa Rosa, California. I am an alumni of the Roski School of Art and Design at the University of Southern California, and I currently work as a lead artist and youth mentor at the Art Start program, which has been encouraging the next generation of young artists for 25 years. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to show work with so many other amazing artists. For this exhibition, I have included 2 acrylic paintings from my most recent body of work, Not by Bread Alone, where I sought to visually express the ups and downs of my relationship with God. Art has been a huge part of my life and being. It helps me to make sense of the world around me and my personal experiences. The goal I have for my work is to present a realistic picture of what it is like to follow Jesus, to live for him, and contend with the narratives about Christianity that are so prevalent in mainstream media and culture. It's also important to me to have Black women represented in my art as the subject and not an object in the background. My painting, Worship Through the Storm, shows a Black woman waving her flags in worship to the one who created her, filled with a peace that surpasses all understanding, even as she is faced with the storms of life. My other painting, Evil Ways, is a kind of self-portrait, where I show myself looking into a mirror in a deeply introspective state, trying to make sense of the turmoil I was experiencing on the inside when this image came to my mind. Nonetheless, I hope that you all enjoyed the work that I have chosen to include in this exhibition. And if you are interested in seeing more of my work, please follow me on Instagram at Keviette by Design. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name's Denise Ward, and my art piece is called Zelma, the One Who Gave Me Wings. Zelma is my mother. She was the one that allowed me to create art at home. She supported my hippie girl view on the world and allowed me to make art in our home. So I dedicated this piece to my mother. Zelma Ward, I love you. This piece is called Black Girl Dreaming, and it was a piece I created in 2020 as an homage to Betty Saar's Black Girl Dreaming. Her piece was really inspirational for kids I taught art at that time. And I entered it into the San Francisco Women Artist Gallery and won Best of Show Juror's Choice in 2022. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's my formative piece of myself.